It escalated dramatically overnight, with India carrying out military strikes against at least 9 targets it described as terrorist infrastructure in Pakistani territory, and releasing these new images of the operation. India said it's a response to a terrorist attack last month that killed 26 tourists in the Indian-controlled part of Kashmir. India quickly blamed Pakistan for the attack.
It was deemed essential and planned the 22nd April attack be brought to justice.
But the Pakistani government denies involvement and says its civilians were killed by an unprovoked act of war by India. Pakistan claims to have shot down 5 Indian fighter jets while they were attacking. The core of the issue is, and has long been, the region of Kashmir, which is partitioned. Each side claims all of the disputed region for itself. Tonight, President Trump is calling for de-escalation.
I know both very well, and I want to see them work it out. I want to see them stop. And hopefully they can stop now. They've gone tit for tat, so hopefully they can stop now.
Pakistan's prime minister said tonight that India must suffer consequences and promised that Pakistan would take, quote, corresponding action. Lester?
Richard Engel, thank you. Now to the latest alarming incident on an American aircraft carrier, a fighter jet falling off the ship into the sea. Courtney Cubey joins us now. Courtney, this is the second time in just over a week this has happened.
Yeah, that's right, Lester. 2 U.S. officials say Tuesday night an FA-18 jet was coming in for a landing on the aircraft carrier USS Harry S. Truman when the tailhook missed the wires and the jet flew off the front of the carrier. Both pilots suffering only minor injuries, but this was just 8 days after another FA-18 on the Truman fell overboard as the ship turned in rough seas. Both incidents now being investigated. The Truman was targeting Iranian-backed Houthi rebels. President Trump announcing Tuesday the Houthis would stop attacking U.S. vessels in exchange for the U.S. stopping its strikes. The jets that were lost came with a price tag of $70 million each. Lester?
Courtney Cubey, thank you. Now to the showdown between the U.S. and China, both saying they'll hold high-stakes talks this weekend as the Fed chair warned today about the impact of tariffs. Gabe Gutierrez now with late details.
Tonight, with his new U.S. ambassador to China freshly sworn in, President Trump is insisting he's not budging just to strike a trade deal.
Are you open to pulling back your tariffs in order to get China to the negotiating table?
No.
Still, there are signs of progress between the U.S. and China in their standoff over tariffs. The country's announcing new talks in Switzerland beginning this weekend.
My sense is that this will be about de-escalation, not about the big trade deal, but we've got to de-escalate before we can move forward.
The trade war not yet shaking the Federal Reserve. Despite pressure from President Trump, the Fed today did not lower interest rates.
The economy itself is still, in solid shape.
But Chairman Jerome Powell with this warning: if tariffs last long term,
they're likely to generate a rise in inflation, a slowdown in economic growth, and an increase in unemployment.
Also today, another escalation in the White House's crackdown on illegal immigration. 2 U.S. officials tell NBC News the Trump administration is now planning to deport a group of undocumented immigrants on a military plane as early as this week to Libya. Though Libya's rival governments tonight both denying they've agreed to accept deportees from the U.S.
He's not behaving like a Republican president.
Meanwhile, former President Biden telling the BBC he does not regret staying in the race so long, despite criticism from Democrats.
I don't think it would have mattered. We left at a time when we had a good candidate. She is fully funded.
And as for the potential migrant to Libya, President Trump did not comment, and late today, a judge said it would violate a prior court. Lester?
Gabe, thanks. Tonight, the FAA is promising changes to help alleviate problems at Newark Airport, where flights have been delayed 4 to 14 hours. But the agency warns a total fix could take years. Here's Tom Costello.
At Newark Airport today, far fewer delays and cancellations as the FAA into and of Space. With its big hub at Newark, United Airlines says from Saturday, April 26th through yesterday, nearly 11,000 passengers suffered through 64,000 hours of delays, due largely to air traffic control staffing issues, runway construction, and equipment failures, including the simultaneous loss of radars and radios last week.
3 of the 4 radar screens went black.
A current controller tells NBC News they've lost radar radios multiple times since August. Last November, controllers say a FedEx plane drifted into LaGuardia airspace after Newark controllers lost comms. Citing stress, several controllers have now taken medical leave. Today, the FAA announced it's taking action, deploying a temporary backup radar system at the TradeCon in Philadelphia, leaning heavily on controller trainees who are certified in certain positions, and adding more telecom lines to improve unsteady transmission lines feeding radar data. But the upgrades could take till the end of the year.
That relay system through the New York TradeCon is what is causing the outages.
Have your passport, real ID, and your boarding pass. Meanwhile, minimal delays at TSA checkpoints nationwide as they began requiring real IDs or passports to travel. Passengers who have neither may be sent for secondary screening. If I show up, I don't have a real ID, and oh boy, I forgot my passport, can I still get on my flight?
Yeah, that is, you can, absolutely. And we're going to work with you to make sure that we go through certain procedures.
Back here at Newark, United Airlines calling on the FAA to regulate takeoff and landing slots, saying there are far too many planes than capacity here at the airport. But both United and the FAA insisting the airspace is safe. Lester?
Tom Costello, thank you. In 60 seconds, the manhunt underway in